HOA claimed my farm is their parking lot, too bad I control their grid power. The sun hung low over the rolling fields of Karen's farm, painting the horizon in hues of amber and despair. For decades, this land had been her sanctuary, a patchwork of memories sown with sweat and love. Her grandfather's gnarled hands had tilled this soil, and her mother's laughter had once echoed through the cornrows. But now, the Harmony Oaks Homeowners Association, HOA, had set their sights on her 40 acres, claiming it as a community necessity for a parking lot to serve their sprawling suburban empire. Karen, a wiry woman in her 50s with sun-etched lines on her face, wasn't one to back down. She'd faced droughts, pests, and bank threats before. But this was war. The trouble began 6 months ago when Harmony Oaks sent their first letter, politely informing Karen that her farm was underutilized and rezoned for community use. The audacity burned. Her land, her legacy, reduced to a plot for asphalt and minivans. She ignored the letters, then the emails, then the phone calls. But the HOA was relentless, a machine of bureaucracy fueled by entitlement. They showed up unannounced one crisp morning, 3 suits, led by Richard Baxter, a slick man with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "This is progress, Ms. Thompson," he'd said, gesturing at her fields like they were already his. "You can't stop it." Karen's response was a shotgun propped against her porch railing. She didn't aim it, but the message was clear. The suits left, but they didn't stop. They escalated permits, lawsuits, and finally, a bulldozer that flattened her soybean crop under the guise of preliminary surveying. The sight of her land scarred by tire tracks snapped something inside her. They wanted her farm? Fine. But Karen had an ace they hadn't counted on. She controlled the local grid's secondary power hub. Years ago, her father had leased a corner of the farm to the county for a small electrical substation. It powered Harmony Oaks' pristine cul-de-sacs, their sparkling community pool, their overlit McMansions. Karen had inherited the maintenance contract, giving her access to the grid's controls. It was a detail the HOA overlooked in their arrogance. And it was her weapon. The standoff came on a sweltering evening, the air thick with tension and the hum of cicadas. Karen stood in her yard, a wrench in hand, facing Richard and his posse of HOA enforcers. "You've got no right," she spat, her voice low but steady. "This is my home." Richard smirked, holding up a clipboard. "The law says otherwise. Step aside, or we'll have the sheriff here by sundown." The bulldozer idled behind him, its engine growling like a predator. Then came the twist. A figure emerged from the crowd, a young woman in a faded denim jacket. It was Ellie, Karen's estranged niece, who'd left the farm years ago for city life. Karen hadn't seen her in a decade, but here she was, eyes blazing. "You're all cowards," Ellie said, stepping between Karen and Richard. She'd been working as a paralegal and had dug into the HOA's permits. "These documents are fraudulent," she declared, holding up a folder. "The rezoning was pushed through with bribes. I've got proof." The crowd murmured, and Richard's face paled. For a moment, hope flickered in Karen's chest. But the HOA wasn't done. Richard, recovering his composure, sneered. "Proof means nothing without power, girl. We own this town." He signaled the bulldozer forward. That's when Karen made her move. She'd spent the night rigging the substation. With a flick of a switch in her barn, she cut the grid. Harmony Oaks went dark, lights out, AC silent, Wi-Fi dead. The HOA members gasped, their phones useless. Karen stood tall, her voice cutting through the dusk. "You want my land? You'll get it when I get my power back." The community erupted into chaos. Residents, furious at the blackout, turned on the HOA. Ellie's evidence spread like wildfire, and by morning, the town council was forced to investigate. The HOA's corruption unraveled. Richard was arrested, the permits revoked. But victory came at a cost. The legal battles drained Karen's savings, and the farm, already struggling, couldn't recover. She sold the land to a conservation trust, ensuring it would never be paved over, but it meant leaving her home. Ellie stayed, promising to fight for the farm's legacy. But Karen walked away, her heart heavy with loss. In the end, Karen won the battle but lost her war. The farm was safe, but she was a stranger in her own story. Her sacrifice exposed the HOA's greed, yet left her rootless. As she drove away, the fields fading in her rearview, she wondered if justice was worth the price. What would you have done in Karen's shoes? Fight for your home or let it go for the greater good? Share your thoughts on justice and community conflict.